In today's video, I'm going to be answering a highly debated question in modern Breaking Bad fandom. Was Walter White ever a good person? Breaking Bad, as the title suggests, is about a man's gradual descent into complete darkness, evil, and greed. The show, as we all know, follows Walter White, a 50-year-old chemistry teacher scraping the bottom of the barrel whose days are numbered. A true recipe for a brilliant show. Walter White begins the show as seemingly timid, not very masculine, and not the type of guy you'd expect to run a drug empire. However, Walt's past is not extremely well known to the average viewer. Walt's narcissistic tendencies had always been brewing. He left Gretchen Swartz due to masculine insecurity. Gretchen's family was immensely well off. This contrasted to Walt and his family. It's common practice and old tradition for a man to provide for a woman financially, never the opposite way round. This deeply emasculated Walt, and this is the real reason why he left her. Walt exclaims that they cut him out, but this simply isn't the case. A lack of narcissistic pride and masculine insecurity would have left Walt with millions in the bank, still being a part of grey matter technology. So now we've put to bed this common misconception that Walter White was never a narcissist in the beginning, let's go on to tackle the real question at hand. However, before I give you guys my answer, I wanted to know what you thought. I did heavy research, and this is some of the answers I found. Quora user Jonathan Gershon says,
No, he never was. Walter White breaks bad over 5 seasons by coming to understand his malevolence, not by creating it. But he cares about his family. No, he doesn't. Nothing exists to suggest that Walt truly cares about his family as people rather than objects. He never bothers to keep in touch and get invested in the details of their lives that differentiate them from everyone else. And, in his parenting advice, only has a variety of cliches and personal insecurities to pass on, instead of concrete advice that would be relevant to a specific person. But a great deal of the series deals with him justifying every move as a way to protect and provide for his family.
In my opinion, Walt used his family as a vector to commit all of the atrocities he does throughout the show. White commits murder in the first episode of the show, and on top of this, the first encounter he has with other members of the criminal underworld. He does this with little hesitation or regard for human life. Now, yes, if we were in this situation, we'd probably do the same thing, but Walt truly seemed like he had done this before. Even in this pilot episode, Walt needed a chance to demonstrate everything he had bottled up his whole life. Now, is evil born or made? This chicken and egg question has been around for centuries and for good reason. Breaking Bad attempts to tackle themes such as morality and evil excellently, but let's attempt to answer the age-old question. Age-old philosopher Aristotle argues that no one is born evil and that morality is taught. Now, to this statement, I completely agree, and to apply this to Walter White, it shows that the environment White had grown up in could have largely influenced how he sees morality. Ted Bundy is one of the most famous serial killers of all time, and it's thought that even he had a traumatic upbringing that could have heavily hindered how he views other people and his regard for them, on top of his compassion and empathy. Another Quora user by the name of Jeffrey Widdowson had this to say.
To all indications, yes, sure. Pride, ambition and discontent were always inside him, but so what? Everyone has urges they have to subdue, but our morality is defined by our actions. For the first 50 years of his life, he was, to all indications, an entirely moral person. A scholar, a hard worker, a devoted husband and father. We see absolutely no indication that he ever did anything illegal, harmful or otherwise immoral. I'm sure he had mistakes in his past, but he was clearly a decent person by any reasonable standard. That's kind of the whole point of the show. He'd been a good guy, played by the rules, and done what he was supposed to his entire life. And nothing worked out the way it was supposed to. He was always failing, getting kicked around, living in fear, scrounging to try and provide a decent life for himself and his family. And then he was found, dying, and had nothing to lose. He decided to finally try something different, go outside his normal behaviour.
And break bad. In my opinion, I think Walter White was always a bad person. The cancer diagnosis gave him an excellent opportunity to exercise his demons and truly become what he was always supposed to be. Do I think he's inherently evil? No. Do I think he's a bad person? Yes.